Washington's Malevolence was fun, but flawed.
What happened?
Simply unacceptable. I should have you thrown into the tunnels for this.
The fucking boat's over 200 years old. Obviously something's gonna break eventually.
What happened? Oh, no. The boat.
I really feel like one of us should probably put the fire out.
Washington's Malevolence is an often overlooked expansion for Fallout 3, and it has a significant amount of content set in Maddox Island, a fictional island off the coast of Chesapeake Bay. It's recommended to play it after Broken Steel, and the main quest is unfortunately very linear, leading the player to feel like they're just helping the real main character, Jimmy Goldman, on his journey. However, the story is still compelling, centered around a grand bank heist with a number of interesting characters to keep the player motivated on the story.
The Rocky Cape Bank was built in, I believe, 2039 originally to store Robert Schitt's massive fortune. Now, the security system put into place was just good enough to attract government attention. Thus, the feds wanted to use the vault as well.
We can't really appraise much more of the author's choices in this mod without identifying the ideological bias of the content, which is a bit tricky. We'd have to say the ideology is inconsistent neoliberalism, notably because of its switching between admonishing full fascism while still enabling it and giving it leeway, a trait particularly identifiable to this perspective and particularly evident in the factions the player is almost forced to ally.
They forget that the innocent of the wastes aren't the enemy. And now I'm speaking with someone who was a victim of Colonel Autumn's blinding incompetence. You have every reason to hate the Enclave, but do know we're not all like him.
The Brotherhood of Steel are present, but portrayed as the bad guys with little explanation, forcing the player to fill in the blanks. The outcasts that are present flip-flop on whether they want to do good in a bout of quadruple betrayal. The Enclave that appear claim to have issues with the Enclave's past genocidal behavior, but claim they want to continue to be the fascist organization under a vague patriotic mythos of the Enclave can be better. And if all that wasn't bad enough, a new faction called the Pirates are added that are overt slavers, and you're encouraged to just overlook their slavery as a means to the end, breaking into the bank. Almost all of these factions are not fleshed out beyond their immediate plot relevance, and the little you do know about them just makes you want to kill them.
This is totally not what I signed up for when I came here. Can I leave?
Think I give half a dry shit what you signed up for? Let's get something straight here. You don't ever tell me what to do. Got it?
There is one big central choice towards the end of the main quest where all of these factions meet in one room, threatening to kill each other. The player has a binary choice: talk them all down, or nearly every character in this mod dies right then and there. This isn't really much of a choice. It forces the player to work with fascist enslavers that go, oh, we aren't that bad, to the point that letting them all die is made an almost viable option. However, that ending is much shorter and very evidently a bad ending the player is meant to avoid. Anyone playing this will either be pro-fascism, pro-slavery, or have to do mental gymnastics to justify assisting fascist enslavers. We had to opt for the latter, but we didn't care for being put in that situation.
Are you insinuating my guys aren't good enough to take on your unit?
Only because they're greatly mismatched.
You really want to push that button?
Let's not resort to anything drastic now.
This let everyone live mentality doesn't apply to one of the central villains, Sam, the player's recruiter. He personally betrays the player, and he alone is the one who dies during the big choice. And every NPC laughs at this, like the player is supposed to find his karmic justice hilarious. But meanwhile, the fascist enslavers get to live? It just felt so delusionally alienated from empathy that the villain who personally betrayed the player be punished, while the people that enslave and massacre others are allowed to just go about their business.
In a way, I suppose I would have it coming. It's a little out of the ordinary that you would
extend an olive branch after I attempted to get you out of the way in such an extreme manner. You're correct that it's just not worth getting myself killed.
All of that being said, the reward in the bank is genuinely interesting. While there are mechanical rewards, the real reward is baked only into the narrative implications. And it's done in a tantalizing way that makes it feel like all the effort was worthwhile. The mod ends shortly thereafter, not really exploring the treasure, but you get the feeling like you made a noteworthy discovery. There's a fair amount of side content that's interesting as well. Vault 89 being a still intact vault with a functional society is extremely interesting, something almost unseen in modern Fallout games, with the exception of Vault 101, though we would have liked to see more information on Vault 89's experiment.
To observe residents living under a matrilineal leadership, only females from the bloodline of Juliana O'Connelly are to be appointed as overseer. If the female O'Connelly does not birth a female child, she is to undergo controlled, regular impregnations until she produces a female child.
There's some other things in this mod that were really fun, like a horror quest pitting the player against a demon that was very well done, and the abominations from that quest, Jimmy's alien tech, and the story of Vault 98 all serve to act as a subtle reference and acknowledgement of Mothership Zeta within the Fallout world. One thing we really loved was how the mod expanded on the character of the last president of the United States, giving him a punny name, Shit, and establishing him as an alternate universe version of Donald Trump. It was a very amusing and satirical way to make it clear Shit was unpopular and likely ended up killed by other high-ranking members of the government right after the bombs fell. A fitting end for the character.
That bummer ruined our country. Deport his back to Africa. His birth certificate was forged. President's making America great again.
And so we give Washington's Malevolence a 6 out of 10. A pretty good time.